Good afternoon, everyone. Today is health class. What number are we on?
35.
We're almost finished. We're going up to like 42 or 43 and we'll be done. So about 4 more weeks and we're done. And then we're going to have our, do you remember what days we voted on for when we're going to do the training for the, no, I didn't bring it on me, it's somewhere. Okay, we'll talk about that another time. But we're going to have, right before the health fair, the week before, there's like 3 or 4 days that we're going to do training so everyone will know what to do at their table. But today, what does it say up here? Cooking schools and house-to-house cooking classes. We're going to talk, I'm going to read all the quotes to you, what Sister White says about this part of the missionary work, where it is to be done, when it is to be done. How many of us are to be medical missionary workers? All of us. And so where it's to be done, when it's to be done, how it's to be done. As I was putting this together, I was like, wow, this is amazing. And you'll see why. So we're going to start right now. We are told the following counsels on diets and foods, page 254, paragraph 2. Let us learn what our duty is and then do it. So when we learn what our duty is, what are we supposed to do?
Do it.
Do it. Amen. Okay, so we're going to be talking about cooking demonstrations, house-to-house cooking. Why? We are told the proper cooking of foods is a most important accomplishment. I forgot to put the quote on here, but she says, knowing how to cook properly is like having 10 talents in one. She said it's the most important thing that we can know, is cooking properly. The proper cooking of foods is the most important accomplishment, especially where meat is not made a principal article of food. Is good cooking an essential requirement. Something must be prepared to take the place of meat, and these substitutes for meat must be well prepared so that meat will not be desired. Because when people get off of meat, what do they tend to do?
Eat a lot of sugar.
They eat a lot of sugar, they're not replacing the protein, they get very sickly, right? And we're going to see where she talks about when a lot of people do that and they don't know what to cook, they get discouraged. Okay, every woman who is at the head of a family, I'm at the head of a family, a lot of us in here, right? And yet does not understand the art of healthful cookery. What kind of cookery?
Healthful.
So does that mean open a vegetarian can? Is that healthful cookery? No. Healthful cookery should determine to learn that which is so essential to the well-being of her household. Ministry of Healing, page 303. One reason why many have become discouraged in practicing health reforms is that they have not learned how to cook so that proper food, simply prepared. Simply or hard?
Simple.
Simply prepared. Would supply the place of the diet which they have been accustomed. They become disgusted with the poorly prepared dishes, and next we hear them say that they have tried the health reform and cannot live in that way. Many attempt to follow out meager instructions in health reform and make such sad work that it results in injury to digestion and is discouragement to all concerned in the attempt. Counsels on Health, page 450. So are we starting to hear why it's important? Cooking schools, classes, demonstrations to be done by our people. Because the avenues to the soul have been closed by the tyrant prejudice. What's the tyrant's name? Prejudice. Many are ignorant of the principles of healthful living. Good service can be done. Now, didn't we learn, let us learn what our duty is, and then what?
Do it.
Do it. She said good service can be done by teaching the people how to prepare healthful food. This line of work is as essential as any that can be taken up. What does that mean? This line of work is as essential as any that can be taken up. Would that mean what a pastor does? It's as essential as that? Why? Because what you put in your body has an effect here, right? And then what has an effect here has an effect on how we receive spiritual things, right? And didn't we learn all these weeks that this message is salvational? Absolutely. And that can be found in Counsels on Diets and Foods, page 472, paragraph 1. So, how are we to do these cooking classes? Old and young should learn how to cook more simply. Can you guys tell me what that means, more simply? Should we have 25 ingredients? Should you have to make veggie cheese and homemade sauce and a homemade this and all for one item? No, very simply. Can you tell me what's a simple dish?
Beans.
Beans is a simple dish, but you might want to get a little bit more extravagant. Patties are a good simple dish. They're not hard. You throw a few things in there, you can make some good, delicious tasting patties, right? But we have to come away from, do you know we're told that the closer we get to the end, the less cooking we're going to be doing? Yes.
Praise the Lord.
Yes, less cooking. Less cooking. Is it easy to put a salad together? It is. When I made my salad, I grabbed this bag and this bag of lettuce mix, threw it all in there. I might have shredded a couple carrots, mixed it all together. So simple. It took me like 5-6 minutes. Very simple. We got to get back to basics.
Next up, we'll have no salad.
Okay. We should not be showing complicated meals. So here's the thing. When we do our cooking schools, we have to be in unison. Now, I'm not here to step on anyone's toes. We're getting higher. We're not to look at people's plates and, ooh, did you use it? We're told when we sit down to eat, unless it's obvious, we shouldn't ask, do you have pepper in this? Do you have... If you know it's in there, don't eat it. But to sit there and ask the person, what did you put in here, and have them tell you all the ingredients, that's an insult. Okay? But as a people, we should be careful what we put in our dishes. We want to make sure the food that we bring here, and the food, when we sit up there in front of and do a cooking school, do we want a bunch of veggie meats and Worcestershire sauce and white sugar and all? Is that what we're supposed to have at our cooking schools? So we don't want any veggies. We don't want any vinegar, black pepper, spices, chilies, food coloring, MSG, canned veggie meat, cinnamon, allspice, MSG, mustard, ketchup. Now, why am I saying we don't want to have store-bottled of mustard and ketchup?
Vinegar.
Because of the vinegar. That's right. Now, if people are using these things, I'm not going to knock them. But when we do our cooking schools, we can't have these items because we're giving a wrong message. Okay, Worcestershire sauce. Even what's called vegan Worcestershire sauce, you know they have a vegetarian Worcestershire sauce. Read the ingredients. It's not a healthy item. And I would recommend at this church, because of the research that's been done, we really should leave the Braxaminos alone when we do our cooking classes, because it's free glutamate. And that has an effect on the neurotransmitters of the brain. And if we're really trying to teach people to eat healthfully and simply, if you want to do that at home, but I think when we do our cooking schools, we really should leave the questionable items, because remember we learned nothing that is an enemy to our health should pass our lips, right? Yes. You had a question?
Is there a difference between apple cider vinegar and regular vinegar?
Yes and no. The apple cider vinegar is made out of apples. Vinegar is made out of some other items. But here's the difference. They're both fermented. And we're not supposed to have anything fermented. And Sister White said we shouldn't have cider and we shouldn't have vinegar. So it's a double whammy when you have cider vinegar. Because she said the cider vinegar that they sell in the stores, number one, is they're using rotten apples. They're using the apples that couldn't sell on the market. Yes. And anything fermented, we're not supposed to have it in our bodies because it messes with the pH. And if your pH is messed up, you're messing up your blood. Well, it's the blood that's getting affected, and that's why the pH gets out of whack. But apple cider vinegar is not good. Even apple cider is not good because it's fermented. And anything bubbly is carbonated. And carbonation, it leaches the calcium stuff out of your bones. So yes, so when we do our cooking classes, these are items that we really want to be careful that we don't have, because then we're teaching the wrong thing at our cooking classes. And we want to teach them 100% according to the Bible and the Spirit of prophecy. Are you guys following me? This is not here to step on toes and criticize anyone. Okay, where should these cooking schools be conducted? I was so interested when I was reading this today. Cooking schools are to be established in many places. This work may begin in a humble way, so you don't have to start off fancy. And we're going to learn you can start off with a little burner, hot plate burner. She talks about that. You have one little table. You don't need a whole bunch of fancy stuff. But as intelligent cooks do their best to enlighten others, the Lord will give them skill and understanding. Amen. He will work with those who carry out his plans, teaching the people how to bring about reformation in their diet by the preparation of healthful, inexpensive foods. Thus, the poor will be encouraged to adopt the principles of health reform. They will be helped to become industrious and self-reliant. That's Testimonies, Volume 7, 113. Now listen to this. I was so excited when I heard this. When the state fair was held in Battle Creek, now do we have a state fair here?
Yes.
We have the LA Fair. We even have the Lancaster Antelope Valley Fair. She said when the state fair was held in Battle Creek in 1864, it's when they first started the health message, our people took with them onto the grounds 3 or 4 cooking stoves, she's talking about the little hot plates, and demonstrated how good meals might be prepared without the use of flesh meat. So I went to a fair, a local fair. Now, you guys, a lot of you know Rico Hill. They're getting like 10 RVs, and they're equipping them with chairs and tables and hot plates. And they're going around, they're setting up. If they see a lot of people at a park, they just start setting up. They put like 12 chairs around the table. They plug in their thing, and they just start to, and it attracts people. So, but she said do it at the state fair. Okay, so that's at the state fair. We are told that we set, now this is what happened when they went to the state fair. We are told that we set the best table on the ground. Whenever large gatherings are held, it is your privilege to devise plans whereby you can provide those who attend with wholesome food, and you are to make your efforts educational. Isn't that something? Okay, this next one, that was Council on Diets and Food 442. This is 443. We should put forth greater efforts to teach the people the truths of health reform. At every camp meeting, an effort should be made to demonstrate what can be done in providing an appetizing, wholesome diet from grains, fruits, nuts, and vegetables. In every place where new companies are brought into the truth, instruction should be given in the science of preparing wholesome food. She calls it a science of preparing. Why? Because you're combining stuff. And you know, if you put too many things together, you got this and that, fireworks in your stomach, right? It's like being in a chemistry lab. That's why she calls it a science. I'm not joking. You ever ate a few things mixed together and you're like, ooh, I shouldn't eat that. Yes. Okay. In Council on Diets and Food 472, because the avenues to the soul have been closed by the tyrant prejudice, many are ignorant of the principles of healthful living. Good service can be done by teaching the people how to prepare healthful food. This line of work is as essential as any that can be taken up. More cooking schools should be established, and some should labor from house to house, giving instruction in the art of cooking wholesome foods. Many, many will be rescued from physical, mental, and moral degeneracy through the influence of health reform. These principles will commend themselves to those who are seeking for light, and such will advance from this to receive the full truth for this time. When the light of health reform first came to us, listen to what she said. We used on holiday occasions. So what are some holidays that are very famous? Christmas, Thanksgiving. Easter's a holiday. We don't celebrate it, but the world does. The Christian world celebrates it. 4th of July. Okay, so we're told when the light of health reform came to us, we used on holiday occasions to take the cooking stoves to the grounds where the people were assembled, and right there we baked unleavened bread, gems, and rolls. And I think that the result of our efforts was good, though of course we had not the health food preparations that we now have, because this was in the very beginning. Every church should be a training school for Christian workers. Are we a church?
Amen.
Yes. Its members should be taught how to give Bible readings, how to conduct and teach Sabbath school classes. Do you know every one of us is supposed to learn how to conduct Sabbath school classes? How best to help the poor, to care for the sick, how to work for the unconverted. There should be schools of health. There should be cooking schools at our churches. And classes in various lines of Christian help work. There should not only be teaching, but actual work under experienced instructors. Let the teachers lead the way in working among the people, and others united with them will learn from their example. One example is worth more than many precepts. Let me ask you guys a question. Did you guys eat the salad with the Asian dressing on it? Did you taste that salad? Did you like that dressing?
Mm-hmm.
Sister Dissa made it. There's no soy sauce or Bragg's in it.
It was good.
But it tasted like it, didn't it? It's very simple. Very, very simple. Okay? Let's keep. She's one of our great cooks. Sister Hall's one of our great. We have some good cooks in this church. Okay, wherever medical missionary work is carried on in our large cities, cooking schools should be held. So here's the thing. Just like we shouldn't teach the gospel without the health message, we shouldn't teach the health message without the cooking schools. Is that understandable? Yes. So wherever we do the medical missionary work, we have to have the cooking schools. That's Testimonies, Volume 7, page 55. I have been instructed to encourage the conducting of cooking schools in all places where medical missionary work is being done. Every inducement to lead the people to reform must be let out before them. Because we tell them to eat healthy, and I hear it all the time, but they don't know what to cook. And see, we think because we know it, we expect them to know it. But people need to see it. I'm the type of person, I can't read instructions. You need to show me how to do it. By reading instructions and watching you do it, I learn. And so a lot of people, you could tell them and it sounds foreign to them. But when they see, you tell them water, but they might think, well, how much water are they using? So they'll see you take this pitcher and pour the water. So that's in their mind. I'm going to do it just like they did it. So, and a lot of times I'll give recipes and I'll say, put cayenne or not cayenne, put garlic powder, onion powder. People are like, how much? I'm like, I don't know, because I don't really measure. But people want to know an amount. And so a lot of people want to see it with their own eyes. Okay. Teach them to make every improvement that they can in the preparation of food and encourage them to impart to others that which they learn. So when we teach others, we need to tell them to pass it on. They need to teach others. Connected with our sanitariums in schools, there should be cooking schools, where instruction is given on the proper preparation of food in all our schools. There should be those who are fitted to educate the students, both young men and women, in the art of cooking. And that's Counsel on Diets and Foods, page 254. There's a brother named James Luke, and he has the Taste of Vegan Delight, 7 Secrets, and Optimal Diet. What he did, and they're going to be reprinting, Tasty Vegan is out of print, but they're reprinting it. What they have done, what he has done is he's gone through every recipe in all 3 cookbooks. And then he put the recommendation. So like if you want vegan butter from scratch, he'll tell you which of those 3 cookbooks and what page. And some of them might be in all 3 cookbooks. He recommends all of the vegan butter made from scratch. But it's very simple. So they know what book to go to and what page to go, and they just make it. And I'll tell you, he and his wife and mother, the wife and mother they cook all over the world. They have very good taste in food because every single recipe that they said was good is delicious. I have not been disappointed yet. So if you go to their website, which is nhtlh.com, Natural Health Through the Laws of Health, and then you click recipes or cooking, it'll give you all the recipes. And you can watch the videos. But if you click the form, that's what it's called, food substitution sheet. Like if you have people who say, I want to learn how to cook, but you don't have the time to be there with them, and we don't have the cooking schools yet. You can tell them I recommend this cookbook, and we're going to be selling cookbooks at the fair, and then you can give them the handout. And what I plan on doing is having copies of the food substitution sheet already in the book, so when they buy it, they can just go through the list and know what's good. Get what I'm saying? We want to simplify it for the people, because not all recipes in the books are good.
Amen.
Not all recipes. Just like when you were young and you bought an album, or a 45, not a 45, a 33, where they called 33s, brother. Yeah, I'm going way back. You bought a 33? There might be 7 songs, but 2 might have been good. You know what I'm saying? Not every recipe in a cookbook tastes good. Okay. Now, where are these classes? So we learned about doing house-to-house cooking classes. But do you know, even here without a sink, we don't have a sink. Do you know they have those big, like, plastic buckets? You can fill it with water. You can have one. You can do simple. Do a couple dishes. Have a little hot plate. But we are counseled, we are to do these classes. Because when we start telling people to get off the meat, what are we going to teach them? So we have some wonderful cooks. But what Sister Disson and I decided we want to start doing until the health fair is very soon, every week, we're going to do it like at one of our homes. And each week we'll do like a couple recipes. And then every week we're going to have a special guest cook. So we'll have Sister Hall one week, and we'll have Sister Lewis, and we'll have Sister Neela. And so it'll be kind of entertaining for those who are watching. It's not just the same old faces every week. There's always someone new. But we have got to start doing something with the cooking classes. Do you guys agree?
Yes.
Amen. And then we'll put them on the website. And so our website is, believe it or not, many people are going to the website because of the health message. And they're seeing the charts, and they're starting to ask questions about the charts. Amen?
Amen.
Okay, that's it for the health classes. For the cooking class. I told you it's going to be short. So we're going to take like a 5-minute break, and then we're going to do the next class, and it's going to be short as well. These are very short today.
Real quickly, the problem with brags.
Okay. Up until about a year ago, maybe 9-10 months ago, I went online and I typed in ingredients of Bragg's Aminos. And they had several names. I don't remember what the names are right now. I think one of them was autolyzed yeast extract. That's a hidden name for MSG. Okay? And here's the thing. Are we supposed to eat amino acids, or are we supposed to eat protein to break down into amino acids? Mm-hmm. We're supposed to eat protein to break down in amino acids. Dr. Blaylock, who is a neuro doctor, very popular. He does a lot of research now. That's what he's dedicated his life to. When you eat free amino acids, which is what Bragg's Aminos are, you're putting too much glutamate, and you have an imbalance in the brain. And you can go on and do a lot of research, but it has free glutamate. What is MSG? Monosodium glutamate. Yes.
MSG is known as excitotoxin.
That's right.
It makes you crave the food.
That's right. That's right. And how many know about Walter Veith? Okay, he's a very good speaker, Fight. It's Fight. In America we say Veith, but it is. It's Walter Veith. But if you look at it, V-E-I-T-H, it looks like it's Veith. And he has a whole thing on health. He speaks very much against Bragg's Aminos. And that's when I first heard about it a few years ago. But I thought, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But then Dr. Blaylock talked about it, and he's a neurosurgeon, or he was specialty in neurosurgeon. And so I thought, wait a minute, he's the second person to talk about this. So I started doing my own research, and sure enough, now I noticed that the people who do the Bragg's Aminos, they remove those names from their ingredients. Because people were catching on. But it's a brown liquid. How did it get to be a brown liquid? It's fermented. And we're not supposed to eat anything fermented. It's very salty. You know that? It's chemically made. It's processed. And it's free aminos. We are not to eat free aminos. Not in a pill, not in a supplement, and not in some liquids. Eat your proteins, eat your fruits, your vegetables, your nuts and grains, and you'll have your protein that you need for the day, which will break down into the amino acids in the body. Is that understandable? Does that make sense? Any other questions? Okay, we're going to...
I was going to say, for the sesame dressing that I had passed out last week.
Can we have it? So
I don't know it by heart, but I didn't realize until you pointed out to me that it did have the amino acids in there.
Oh,
That's the thing, but
not this week.
But you substitute it. All I did was I took a third cup of water and put a
Okay.
tablespoon of salt in it.
Okay.
Amino acids are very salty, so you're just going to substitute that liquid and make it salty
Okay.
and put it in there.
So what she did, where it asked for the amino acids, she took water like if it says 1/4 a cup, she took 1/4 cup of water and she put a little salt in it to give a little salty flavor. But what kind of salt do we want to use?
Sea salt.
Real salt. Now, see, there's a difference, like, because not all sea salt is good. If it's a white salt, it's been processed. But like real salt or Celtic salt or Himalayan, I think the Celtic is like the least expensive of all of them. They have all the minerals. They have 80 plus minerals in them. And so you have the potassium to go along with the sodium chloride. You don't just have the sodium and the chloride, which tugs on the potassium and then causes an imbalance in the body. And then you have extra fluid causing the edema and then causing your blood pressure to go up and heart problems and all the other stuff. When you have all these minerals combined, have you guys seen real salt? It's very speckled in different colors. It's because it's very high mineral content. Just like if you look at a rock, you know, it has all those different colors and speckles, very high mineral content.
Now,
So,
does that type of salt cause your blood pressure to shoot up?
no, it balances it out. And the key is you need very little because it's so concentrated and because of all the other minerals that's in it. So it doesn't do to your body what the table salt does. And the thing with the sea salt that's white, it's not iodized. And so
not condensed, but pure iodine.
I recommend getting it through Azure because that's the most economical. But here's the thing, a lot of Seventh-day Adventists, we learn table salt is bad. So we give it the table salt, we go to the white sea salt at Winco, it's very cheap, okay, per pound. But then we get thyroid problems and our hair starts falling out. We're wondering why, because you don't have the iodine.
We had it in the amounts.
In white sea salt?
Yes, iodized.
I'd be careful though because it's processed, it's white. Real salt is not white. Real salt has a color to it. Even if you look at the salt that comes up on the ocean, it's not all white. It looks like it gives it that color. But when they collect it, I know people who used to collect it years ago, it's not white. It's different speckled colors. And so be very careful because that just one little thing you do wrong can have an effect on your whole body. Any other questions? Okay, we'll just stop now and we'll take a 5-minute break and then our next class is going to